This is my tier list of every job ever. Okay, now that they got scared away, I feel like this list is gonna hit a bit close to home for the rest of you. This list will be based off of two things. First, the pay, and second, my personal experience with all of them. You know, they used to call me Johnny Virtue back in the day. It's not milk in my bowl. This list will be divided into categories for easy organization, which you can see here. With all that being said, enjoy. First up, customer service. I'm gonna have to subdivide this list from S to F tier, and then from S of F tier to F of F tier. Pretty much anything in F tier means you can't or barely can live off the paycheck.
You have $10, truly.
But there's shaking a cup outside McDonald's and working in McDonald's. Of course, the first one is far better. I'll be putting all fast food places in B of F tier, except for Subway, which will go in A of F tier, for no particular reason.
Subway?
I have never heard a single good fast food experience, not even from the customers. I have heard horror stories of people shitting on the floor in the bathroom, or worse, not in the bathroom. There are people who leave so-called upper deckers, and some poor overworked student has to clean that up. The only thing saving this from double F tier is that you can usually get free food and it's not the hardest work in the world, unless it's rush hour. Retail is fairly similar to fast food, except with even more customer interaction and way more capitalism. At least in fast food you get a break, but in retail you'll always have more shelves to fill and people to help. And even though this isn't customer service, stocking on Amazon warehouse is similar and just as terrible. C of F tier. Uber is a great reason that we should start building more walkable cities with public transport. Uber is super expensive. Being an Uber driver pays you barely any of the money you do make because Uber gets a cut. Then the government gets a cut, unless you commit tax fraud. And on top of all of that, you have to pay for your own gas and car maintenance. D of F tier. Online customer service. If you have a strong Indian accent, may God help you. If you have a bad connection, may God help you. If you're a cold caller, may God help you to get a better job. And most of all, if you're dealing with an elderly person, may God help you. What if you're dealing with a prank caller? Especially if you're dealing with a prank caller. F of F tier. Next up, arts. It can mean a lot of things, but let's start with the most common definition. Artist. Not artist, but artists have created some of the most memorable things in human history. The Mona Lisa, the Cologne Church, and Skibbity Toilet. Hey, I didn't say they were all good things, and maybe that last one was created by an artist. I'm gonna have to give artists a C tier. It's sometimes enough for you to survive and very respectable, but if you create good art, you barely get paid anything. And what makes it even worse is modern artists. Oh my god, how I loathe this. Modern art was created by the CIA during the Cold War to make Soviets confused why utter garbage was so popular. And unfortunately, long after the Cold War, it's still popular. Modern artists can tape a banana to the wall and people will pay money to come see it. They can easily make shitloads of money if they have the right connections. The only reason it's still around is because of tax evasion. So if your hipster friend ever says, "Hey man, you just don't understand the significance of this art, man," at least you'll know better. B tier. Because once I actually made a modern art drawing as a joke and sold it for a little too much money. I was 10, by the way. But there's something even worse than a modern artist. And it's an AI artist. AI artists need to kill themselves. F tier. Unfortunately, some of them can make some money, probably enough to live, although I really hope they don't. Architects. Architects have an incredibly important job. They design the houses we live in, the buildings we visit, and many of the sights we see. And I haven't seen a fall off this bad since Jenna Ortega's plastic surgery. They used to make these grand, beautiful buildings that stand to this day, but now people are like, "No, I want my brutalism. I'm gonna make brutalism." While they're at it, they might as well go kick puppies since they're clearly a Disney supervillain. With all that being said, it's still a high-paying job and some people can create bangers. A tier for asshole. Musician. Mom, Dad, I've decided what I want to be in life. I want to be a musician. Being a musician is not a good job. Pretty much anything fun or interesting is not a good job. There's the 0.1% who succeed, and there are millions of people who end up living out of their van for the next 20 years. This is getting F of F tier. Not only do you barely get paid anything, what you do get paid can get taken from your label. You'll have to pay for your own equipment, which is super expensive, and good luck if you're trying to get into music school. And I'm saying all of this as a musician myself. I can play guns, fiddle, and drums like the two people know this. I could go on, because technically anything can fall into the category of art, even food itself. So let's move on to something a little bit more vital. Essential jobs. So far, the world would survive if everything on this list disappeared. But this category has slightly more important jobs, such as a chef. I have heard more horror stories from inside a kitchen than from doctors. You know, the people trying to save you from dying.
I am a surgeon!
Apparently cocaine and other drugs are very common amongst chefs because the stress gets that high.
Where's the lamb sauce?
And I've heard that not only do they cut vegetables, they also cut themselves. Yeah, no thanks. I don't need my spaghetti that badly, y'all need to chill out. I'll give this a B tier. It generally pays okay, and if you can handle the stress, you can make a good name for yourself. Next up, we have the legendary trio. When you were younger, you 100% wanted to be one of these jobs, and you should tell me about it down in the comments. Firefighter. These guys are absolute badasses. I have yet to ride in a fire truck, and I've always wanted to. This was my choice when I was a wee babby cereal. And fun fact, most firefighters are volunteers who go risk their lives in burning buildings pretty much all for free. Due to the rules, I'm gonna have to give this an F of F tier. Policeman. Well, if you're an Instagram user, I'm sure you'd love this job. But anyway, this will still get a D tier, because getting shot at and having to enforce the law all for as little as $23 an hour is one of the worst trade deals in the history of trade deals, maybe ever. Astronaut. To be an astronaut is to push the boundaries of being a human being. Countless hours of training, both physical and mental, risking your life all in the name of science to further the human race. And somehow Katy Perry did this too. I want to give this an F tier just because of her, but regardless, it is a very good job. A tier for astronaut. Teachers. Damn. Teachers are arguably the most important job on planet Earth right now. And they get paid diddly doodly dog shit. It's a pretty difficult job. Imagine being a teacher for little kids. You're going to be a key part of their lives, shaping their future. But you have to deal with the shit that little kids and even older kids bring, both figurative and literal. And you do all of that for 12 shillings at the end of the year. Unfortunately, F of F tier. Next up are useless jobs. These are miscellaneous jobs that I couldn't fit anywhere else in the list, and most of them only exist due to capitalism. Lawyers. S tier. CEOs. S tier. Bankers. S tier. Porn stars. S tier. Yeah, despite all of these being kind of horrible, they usually pay well. A bit too well. Politician. Oh my god, it's hard to imagine a better job. You get to sit around and do nothing all day long while you get buckets of money. At least that's what my politicians do.
I need 40.
And they even get to visit private islands, all for free. Easy S tier for insider trading.
Margaret Thatcher's dead.
YouTube.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
Okay, technically not my job yet, but if you like and subscribe, then you can help this little cereal bowl out. Aside from that, YouTube has to be one of the best jobs there is, and it's not super unethical like everything else in S tier.
Like, I'm not gonna deny that I dropped my fair share of hard R's back then, because we didn't even, the term hard R.
Lastly, celebrities. Yeah, I'm counting this as its own job, cause seriously, who the fuck is Simon Cowell?
Simon fucking Cowell!
A lot of actors and musicians end up having one big role or song and are known by everyone, and then never do anything else. But they decide to share their political opinions and get invited to major events anyway. An easy S tier, because genuinely, what do they do and how do they get paid so much? I swear half of them know every name on that list by heart, and even if they do something bad publicly.
It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
They still have fans who'll ignore that. It's absolutely insane. Well, this is the end of the video. And it's funny, all of the respectable jobs are at the bottom of this list. But anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed this video, and you should stick around and click this next video here.
Thanks for watching. I really hate Simon Cowell. The twat.